are allowed guests, they are allowed electronic devices, but they're not allowed to leave the house. That is what I understand. Yes, it is them on their Twitter accounts. It has been the whole time. They were actually communicating their tweets to the men or the lawyers who were able to meet them, and then that was being put up on their account. So it is them and has been them, on Twitter for the duration. But as things stand, they still haven't been charged formally. And as I understand it, the continuation of this being held preventatively, the preventive detention, can continue for another 3 months. At that point, as I understand it, again, as a non-legal professional, then the concerned authorities have to either charge them or release them. Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think from a logical perspective, that's definitely accurate. But also from a logical perspective, why would men who drive Bugattis and fly on private jets need to somehow deprave an individual of their liberty and exploit them for very low amounts of money? They don't have the time, nor the care factor, nor the motivation to do such things. So yes, I believe it's fair to say that's the current state of play is rather illogical, but then the allegations themselves are completely illogical as well.
That's right.
So there's a lot of, and one thing that is important to say, Andrew doesn't hold any, he said it publicly and he means it. In our conversations, he's verified that. He doesn't hold any anger or any ill will against any of the parties involved, not even those making the allegations. He understands that we live in a world where certain types of people will make certain types of allegations against people with money and status to try and get a piece of that money and status. He understands that authorities, when they receive certain types of complaints, it's their responsibility to look into them. So Andrew's whole thing at the moment is, this whole thing is, obviously it's incorrect. Anyone who knows Andrew, has been around Andrew and Tristan, knows that it's absolute nonsense. His main focus is clearing his name and then getting back to, having a very positive impact and putting out his positive message to the world. So the point I'm trying to make here is there is no ill will from Andrew as to what's happening. Yes, It is deeply unjust. I don't know how I'd respond to 3 months in prison and remain in prison. It's not exactly 5-star, right? So
right, it's
I'm not sure how. Yeah, he's definitely walking the walk there. That's where you see real masculine leadership in a way. One of his tenets is talking about stoicism and emotional control, and you can see him very much embodying that. When they were in prison, and let's be real, these guys have had a pretty hard upbringing. Luton, Chicago, these are not comfortable places to grow up. They're both professional fighters. They were hungry at one point while fighting. They've lived pretty rough. For them, this was a challenge, but it definitely wasn't the hardest thing they've been through. And also, throughout their time in prison, again, they continued to walk the walk. They were doing their push-ups. Andrew was studying his faith. They were keeping themselves disciplined and on task. So yeah, I think for the average guy, it would have absolutely broken him. But these guys have what they call the iron mind. It's a mix of stoicism, of daily urge for just constant conquest, for pursuing masculine excellence in all areas of life. And they just applied it to this situation. I remember I was with Andrew when the full cancellation kicked off. So within about 48 hours, there was a coordinated series of media hit pieces across all of the different big media houses, all saying the same thing. It was like cut and paste. It was amazing to see the way they coordinated the release. He lost banks, payment processors, his Instagram with over 4 million followers. He lost email servers, website servers, everything just dumped. Not once did I see him show any emotion or stress. His entire infrastructure that he built up over years was decimated within a day, and he didn't mind. I saw this all. I was like, okay, this guy really is built different. They really are. They embody that iron mind, that stoicism, that preparedness to just take whatever comes and remain totally resilient and totally on track and focused. And that's why they're such positive role models for the men of today. They embody that. Yeah, definitely. And one of the things he was briefed on clearly when he got out, because when he was inside, he had very limited communications. When he got out, he was briefed very clearly on all those parties who had supported him and all of those, previous supporters who'd gone silent. And he was grateful for all of those people who stood up and made noise. And I think the fact is, if you're a rationally thinking individual and you're able to apply logic, which of course it seems, mainstream media isn't, and if you look at Tate's long-form videos and you see that 99% of what he says has nothing to do with women or misogyny or any of these claims, it's about making men better men and therefore societies better societies, it's almost inevitable that you come to the conclusion that, hang on, this Tate chap has value to add. He is a masculine hero in an era where there aren't many masculine heroes. What are the masculine role models that we have out there really calling young men and men in general to be better and saying to the women out there, if you want to embrace traditional values, then that's fine. There's no shame in doing so. It's very rare to have someone speaking so articulately and so directly against, this narrative of trying to turn people into sheep. So I think the end state is the vast majority of people who look into Tate properly, they realize, hang on, this guy's a treasure. We need to support him. We need to protect him. We need to continue having him offsetting all of these degenerate messages that we see absolutely ruining Western society. And to your point about it being evil, as a recent revert into Islam, I genuinely believe that what we see in the West, this wokeism, is the work of shaitan, it's the work of the devil. When you, I mean, I don't want to get too political here, but when you see a society normalizing exposing children to things of a sexual nature, when you see a society normalizing unalterable medical procedures on children that influence them for the rest of their lives, impacting their sexual parts, how is that not evil? How is that not the work of the devil? I genuinely believe that the West is being impacted heavily by evil in terms of this wokeism religion. And the flip side of that is people like Andrew, who speak up directly against that sort of thing, have a very important role to play in protecting humanity from all this woke, degenerate nonsense that we see being pushed on just about every